This episode of the Broadband Bunch is sponsored by ETI Software and Vetro FiberMap.
Hello, everyone in broadband land, and welcome to another episode of the Broadband Bunch. I'm your host, Brad Hine, bringing you story stats and samples from the growing world of broadband. Today, we are on site at FiberConnect 2025 in Nashville, Tennessee. This is day one, and we are getting a very early start here. My guest today has been deeply involved in the telecommunications and technology sectors for over 25 years. His background in both technology development and business strategy has given him a holistic perspective of the fiber industry. From engineering innovations to market positioning and regulatory compliance, and to mention some other things that we'll talk about, please welcome the Chief Marketing Officer of Clearfield, Anis Khemakhem. Anis, welcome to the bunch.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. Good to be here.
Absolutely. We're at FiberConnect. I hope you didn't have any trouble finding the room at all. This is somewhat of a maze here in the Gaylord Resort Hotel.
It's a good way to keep us in containment here, but no problem finding the place after asking a couple people. But it's great to see. I just landed yesterday, and it's just great to come in here and see the energy, and it's just really a pleasure being part of this not only the trade show, but all the whole environment around it. And FBA has done a really great job promoting this event. They have.
And, I think every year attendance grows and grows. I saw some of the talks early this morning at 8 a.m., getting started bright and early. The expo hall hasn't opened, but I know as soon as it will, it'll bring even some more movement here to the conference.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about Clearfield for our listeners, just so they get a 360-degree kind of view of Clearfield. You're well known in the industry already. And tell us a little bit about your role at Clearfield too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Clearfield has been around since the early 2000s. And 2008, Clearfield, under the brand, has started developing some very innovative products. And really, the mission is serving and providing broadband connectivity to the underserved communities and providing broadband connectivity to everybody and anywhere. So as we started during the early 2000s, it was really a focus on creating some labor-light solutions by having some scalable products that are able to speed up the deployment and bring in a lot of innovation along the way. So within the last couple of decades, we've really established ourselves as one of those leaders in this space, and especially for community broadband markets.
Yeah. So tell us about your role then, exactly what you're doing, what your vision is for Clearfield at this point.
Yeah, I'm currently the Chief Marketing Officer. So I lead the marketing and strategy teams within Clearfield. And the goal is to continue the mission, continue supporting our broadband and community broadband markets and constituents and customers. But also, we're looking at the future of fiber. Where do we need to go, and where is our customer base going? That's the most important thing. Is how do we support them in their mission and also their journey throughout their ever-evolving network. So, if we do that well, and when we do that well, we'll continue to grow with them, and that's the goal of Clearfield, and that's my mission really.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of these discussions, we seem to go back 5 years to COVID, and we talk about that paradigm shift that we had in our, in the world, and kind of how we all adjusted to it. But now we're safely on the other end of it, and we're all moving forward and envisioning the future now. I even see that you have a sticker of Baba on your sleeve there.
That's right.
And can you tell us a little bit about how that fits into your vision?
Yeah, we believe that everybody should have broadband access. And in order for us to do that, there's going to be some federal programs, some programs to incentivize and get broadband to everybody in the country. Everybody, hopefully at someday worldwide. The being ready for BEAD and being ready with BABA compliant product has been the forefront of what we need to do to ensure that we are ready when all that funding flows through to the right places and to the communities that need it. We're headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we have manufacturing in the U.S. and Minnesota and other places. And our ability to provide BABA compliant product is important for us to ensure that as our customers are taking advantage of the available funding, and they're able to execute on the programs that they have to get broadband to everybody. We are ready, and we want to be there for them to support them.
Yeah, definitely materials and supplies and getting at them quickly and getting them out into our projects is our number one thing. What are you seeing in terms of workforce currently in the US? I know that there's ongoing training with all the new technologies and then kind of the new paradigms and ways that we're doing things in the industry. We're always looking to be more effective and efficient. I know that's what your session's going to focus on. But how's workforce and all those parameters kind of factor into that as far as your vision?
Yeah, we manufacture products, right? And our ability to support our customers is really understanding their bottlenecks. And as we understand, hopefully, we believe all the excitement around all the build outs that are happening. And it's really important for us to play our role to ensure that we support the labor shortage or potential labor shortage by doing a few things. Our labor light product development approach is really helping that. So it's all about speed of deployment, and that in turn gives you all the efficiencies that you need to utilize the labor and get that labor content or get the labor outputs that you expect. Any secondary truck rolls are very, very costly, and they take away from more homes connected or devices connected. So in order to do that, we want to make sure that our quality is up to par, and also the training that we provide. So we provide training not only on our products, but also FOA training and other types of training to really help our customer base get their installer base ready to go and ready to deploy in a speedy manner and in a way that is going to improve that efficiency that we talked about. The last thing is we understand also there is going to be, and we really want to help our customers recruit and bring in some new talent. The next generation of installers learn differently than I did, and the generation before me, and so on. So we all learn differently. So it's really important, imperative for us to adjust to the next generation of installers. What that means is deploying and implementing some tools that will help them in their journey and in their work and create that efficiency that we talked about. So one of the things we do is, for example, we have partnered with launched a Build app. It's an investment that Clearfield has made to ensure that that our installer base can take a look at our products and open a 3D model of it and be able to scroll and move it and learn on their device, something that's a little bit different than it has been done in the past. So being innovative is not just on product design for us. It's the whole package. Is how do we support our customers throughout their journey and ensuring that those labor shortages become more of capturing efficiencies, and how do we get them prepared for the best practices in our fiber industry.
That's great. That's great. I'm excited about that too. I appreciate you calling out some of those details in your new product. You and I talked a little bit before a podcast about this next generation that's coming up and just the different culture that it represents. Obviously, you and I didn't grow up with iPhones and Android phones, but this whole generation expects everything to be on a phone, on a device. They don't want a laptop, right? The phone has to be where everything is. And we even talked a little bit about the culture that brings. You walked in here with your Nike bright blue Air Force shoes.
That's right. Yep.
And I was telling you a little earlier, I was like, well, I'm going to wear a blazer today. I was telling my wife, wear a blazer and I'll wear my nice shoes. I'll wear some casual jeans, but I'm going to be interviewing some C-level folks today. It's very refreshing to see you walk in with bright blue Nike Air Force and dressed all in black. And it's the new Clearfield brand. I love it. Addressing the new culture that we're seeing come up with a paradigm shift.
Absolutely. We have to walk the walk, right?
Yeah.
And in order for us the industry is evolving and we're doing everything for the next generation. So this all the infrastructure we're building, we provide infrastructure equipment for the next generation. And the next generation is going to learn differently. They're going to play differently. They're gonna work differently. And we just have to enable that. And that's our mission, is really how do we enable that, and how do we evolve with our customers and their customers? Ultimately, our kids, right? My kids learn differently than I do. To your point, I'd see the phone is just the first step there. That's a device. It's a connected device. But you think about all the connected devices that you have at home, and all the connected devices in the IoT or Internet of Things space that are yet to be defined. It goes from autonomous driving all the way to I don't know, a sprinkler system that has to work at the right time, right? All those are connected devices that we almost now are getting accustomed to. It's not just a phone. Your phone is just your remote control, so to speak. It's just how you monitor and how you evolve. So as these needs and all these applications come about, our customer base is getting ready for that. And the best way to get ready for it is to deploy the best fiber optic network that is robust to be able to handle that. Latency with some of the autonomous, we talked about autonomous driving, for example, is one of those future applications that is really not too far off.
They're here. Yeah.
They're here, right? And so I embrace that. And I feel that our mission is really to enable our customers, to give them the products, give them the solutions, give them the tools to be able to deploy the most effective network to be able to handle it. You know, quality, speed of delivery, speed of installation, labor light type of products are only going to enable and help deploy more and more of these edge computing or edge types of networks that will enable the applications. So I get excited about this because, you know, the blue shoes only represent our evolution into after we, you know, as we continue to connect every home, there's more than homes. There's connecting other devices, connecting other things that will really give us a lifestyle that our kids are going to expect and want, and there's no really stopping that. You know, the requirements for data is going to only increase. There's a lot of data on that, or a lot of studies on that, and the trillions of dollars being injected into the AI and IoT space will all require us to have a robust network for it to work. So that's what we're here for, and that's what we want to make sure that we continue to help our customers be ready for that. So
that's really fascinating. I'm so curious because I know when you and I grew up, we're talking about how the culture and the generations changed with technology. When I grew up, I always thought my parents are so old. They just do things in such an old fashion. I mean, when I'm their age, I'm going to be so cool. And here we are now with a regular residential home requires so much bandwidth just to work everything that it has. I think I checked the other day, we had 37 devices connected to our home, and it's just me, my wife, and my son. We just have one child, you know, and he's got his VR glasses. He's got his gaming. He's got all his schoolwork. You know, of course, we have a security system set up around the house. And if I'm not careful, my car will connect to my phone no matter where I am in the house, and I'll lose my signal. So my car is even pulling, you know, my phone connection is a Bluetooth. So it's fascinating. In terms of setting the network up, is there a plan that Clearfield has to go through to make sure they're layering all that properly to set us up for AI, VR, machine learning, edge computing, all of that? It all has to be carefully orchestrated, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So I want to start with the cool factor.
Okay.
So I did run these shoes by my teenage boy.
Okay.
And my preteen kid, and they approved them. So that's exciting.
Okay. That's great. So first check box.
That box has been checked. But no, I'm all kidding aside. I mean, you're right. I mean, the way we have learned when, you know, as I grew up in the 80s and early 90s, where computers just coming out, and that screen, we were really curious about what happens at that screen, right? And the next generation is going to only have more and more devices. So 36 devices today. Yeah. You know, who knows how many in the future, right? In order for us to do that, we understand there's a huge infrastructure lift, and the speeds we're hearing. I was at CES last January, the speeds we're hearing is just mind-boggling. When we're talking about, it's just the challenges of cooling, the challenges of power that will be that are being talked about are tremendous. On the fiber side, how do we get prepared for it? On the connectivity side, that's the third leg to that stool. With power and cooling and connectivity. On the connectivity side, it's gonna require more density, more dense solutions. And again, it's all about speed.
Yep.
Speed of deployment as well. We want it to be, so our plug and play approach has always been something that we needed to walk our customer through and ensure that we have demonstrated the efficiencies that will get us. So from a total cost of ownership, that is something that we needed to, or we wanted to make sure that our customers understand, and we worked with our customers. So the first thing we're doing, and it's part of our core values, is listening. So what we're doing now is we continue to listen to our customers, and as they develop these networks to be able to handle all this bandwidth we're talking about, we're listening to our customers and understanding what are their priorities. Is it density? Is it the speed of deployment? And it's really all of them, right?
Right.
But how do we prioritize it in our product design and ensure that they have the accessibility to the fiber, the cleaning piece of it, which is very important. How do we make sure that all these things come together in a product that is optimized for that environment specifically? And what I mean by that, it could be in the central office, it could be in their data center, it could be a mobile switching center, and it might have a little bit of variation just because that environment has different requirements. The data centers right now are all about density, and cable management becomes key. That is a core value, or core, I shouldn't say value, it's really a core design element in what we do at Clearfield, and ensuring that we continue to do that is important. The challenge, of course, is, we went from a panel that had 24 fibers and in one rack unit to now we're talking about, hundreds of circuits in one rack unit. So that density provides us with some additional challenges, and that innovation piece becomes more and more key. So our ability to have everything modular is another thing. A lot of our customers are really building a network for the future. So the modularity and scalability, being able to scale their network, is really key to our core customers in the community broadband market. I want to make one last point about this, because we talk about a lot of areas where connectivity is ubiquitous or becoming that, right? But a lot of communities that we serve and we're passionate about serving, they don't have that yet. And one of the things we're really striving to do is how do we beat or no beat money? How do we get that done for our customer base?
Right. Funding, right?
Whether it's funding, whether it's simplifying and providing some solutions. We're just coming up with a product called the Tether Smart, and it's about how do I, maybe I don't need in those environments the density, because now I'm going, miles between homes, but how do I make it as easy as possible for those customers to get connectivity to those underserved? The one thing about COVID that made it clear to us, we all need to be connected. Those kids that live in rural areas have to have connectivity to be able to continue their education. And so there's a lot of people that I talk to that maybe in the ag and other areas of the market that really stepped up and helped champion connectivity to everyone. And so those are things that as we look at new applications, we really want to make sure that those communities are served as well.
Right. Great. So I'm hearing you say a lot of really sound and interesting things. We talked about supply chain efficiency. We talked about domestic manufacturing. Clearfield is doing that here in the U.S. We're talking about your new Labor Light solution, which is a plug-and-play solution for better efficiency to your communities and your customers. Our customers are our greatest product managers.
Absolutely.
They tell us, they give us all the check boxes. It's up to us to check them for them and make sure that we're finishing with all those tasks.
We got to listen. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, what are some of the lessons that you've learned throughout your career in terms of that whole process? Is there anything that sticks out at you as a big lesson learned, how to simplify a lot of this for turning it into a product and speaking to your own customer market?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest lesson is to listen to what is the problem the customer is trying to solve and start there.
Mm-hmm.
So listen to what they're trying to solve rather than try to shoehorn in a solution that's already designed.
Right.
And typically in our industry, just because those challenges are not unique, you typically come up with a product that solves the problem for multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that first step, that first value that is very important is just sitting down with the customer, partnering with the customer. And I invite all of our broadband providers to talk to their vendors and to their manufacturers to work with them on identifying what problem are they trying to solve rather than, how a product solves a problem. From a manufacturing perspective and supply chain, those are always going to be challenges that we have to deal with. And I was talking to somebody a few days ago, and they asked me about tariffs as an example. I know this is something that's very top of mind for everybody, but the reality is we have adjusted. We're very resilient as an industry. We'll adjust. We'll make sure that we're ready. It's just, as soon as we have some clear direction, we can adjust. And so our ability to adjust and being creative and get to the cost structure that makes sense for our customers, we've proven that we can do that, and we'll continue to do that. So yeah, the first element is really listening and understanding what problem they're trying to solve rather than trying to shoehorn in any of our products. And that's a core value for us.
Wise words. And from someone like myself who's also lived in that product world, I agree 100%. Well, as we wind this episode down, thanks for coming and chatting with us here at Fiber Connect 2025. How can our listeners get in touch with Clearfield and learn a little bit more about what we were talking about today and some of your new solutions?
Well, we're at the show, so if you are here, please stop by. We'd love to talk to you about what we have going on. We have not only products, but we're actually showing the built app, and we have, you talk about the virtual reality. We actually have some tools that use VR that will allow us to demonstrate what I talked about previous in this call. We are in booth 421. Our whole team is there, and if you're walking in the hallways, just look for those blue shoes and ask anybody. They'll be able to talk. But yeah, seeclearfield.com is our website. But look us up, and would love to talk to you and partner with you. Anything we can do.
Excellent. Thank you, Anis, for coming to talk to me. And I'll look forward to this. I definitely want to catch up with you later on in the year and see what's been going on with Clearfield then also.
Thanks for the opportunity, Brad. It's really a pleasure talking to you.
You have a great week.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Take care.